that was appropriate to do was to gather all the stakeholders to address everybody that's present here today before we will be inviting.
Thank you. I think you said my speech for me. The Deputy Commissioner, the PS for Civil Service, and the heads of the various police departments. Ladies and gentlemen, I didn't realize most of you would be wearing red, so must have been subconsciously put on red. Look, I don't want to make a long speech. The reality of the matter is that the ADB meeting, and at the expense of sounding immodest, but I'm only saying this because of the fantastic feedback we received from everybody, right from the President of ADB to the Deputy Prime Minister of Japan, to the Deputy Prime Minister of Korea, all the heads of all the delegations have said that this meeting was a resonating success. Very, very successful. And as the MC has said, it would not have been possible without everybody, all of us Fijians, putting our weight together. So let's put our hands together for everybody. And for a lot of people may not, and I have to highlight this to you, a lot of people may not actually understand the significance of us having the ability to host this meeting and in such a professional manner. The ADB meeting, I'm going to say this again, ADB meeting has never come to this part of the world. We have never had such a large gathering of international participants at an international gathering. Never. What this has demonstrated to us and to the rest of the world is that we have the capacity and the ability to host such meetings and do it professionally. One very good feedback that I received, which is I thought summarized it well, they said that everything ran very smoothly. They said the logistics was really good. It was very seamless from one meeting to the other, from the airport down to the hotel, the transfers, etc. They thought the volunteers were very good. The volunteers were coming up themselves and asking if somebody got off the bus. They looked a bit lost. Apparently these young volunteers were coming up to them and saying to them that, ma'am or sir, can I help you? Right from that to the food, the quality of the food, to the security, the professionalism of the police force. They said it was very professional. The sessions were attended well. There were good discussions, very professional, very formal, but we found it to be relaxing at the same time. So that niche, that edge is a Fijian edge. That's something that we can bring and we should be proud of. That I thought was the best feedbacks that we received. But in this meeting, and I want to actually publicly, I've done this, I want to publicly acknowledge the PS for Civil Service. Some of you may not know this, but she actually ran the G20 meetings for Australia twice. And the level of detail she brought in the organization of it, I think, came through on the day itself. And I want you to please put your hands together for her, because right down from signage to how things will look, all of that was in the game plan. And I know some people, and I think it's a good time to also, in a way, kind of debrief. I mean, traditionally, for example, we've had people, when we have such meetings, we get the security agencies to also be the liaison officers. But in this particular case, you did what you're good at, you provided the security. We had liaison officers, people who were from Ministry of Foreign Affairs, from the Reserve Bank of Fiji, from the Ministry of Economy. Because these people, they want to talk to you about economics. They want to talk to you about economic development. They want to know about your country. And what we did was, of course, some of you would know this too, is that the PS organized training for them. Training for volunteers. Training for the liaison officers. So everybody was in the same song sheet, sang from the same song sheet. And that's very, very critical. We are a small island developing state. We are less than 1 million people. We are subject to climatic events. So for us, as policymakers, as all of us as Fijians, we always have to think cleverly. We have to be smart about how we do things. We have to be more efficient about how we do things. We have to be more proficient in how we do things. Because we actually have to have an edge. Big economies like America, Singapore, UK, France, Korea, all these people have very large populations, very well developed industries. We don't. Only for the first time in Fiji's history have we grown 10 years straight in a row. The question now is, how do we continue to grow? How do we continue to keep the momentum? 50% of the population is below the age of 27. 50%. Very young population. 70% below the age of 40. What does that mean? We'll be making more babies very quickly. It's a fact of life. The younger the population, the more procreation takes place. So they'll come through the system very quickly. How are we going to give them jobs? How are we going to educate them? How are we going to train them? So this is our job, to be able to think along those lines. As policymakers, one of the reasons why I was so keen for ADB to come to Fiji is not just for us to be able to showcase, but for us to have a huge learning curve. If we have a huge learning curve, we know how it's done, we get the positive feedback, we can go out. And our goal is now to go and ask the World Bank to come and have the annual meeting. They've never come to this part of the world. World Bank, IMF. Every 2 years they get out of Washington, they go to some other country. They've been to Peru, they've been to Bali. I'd like them to come to Fiji. They have about 4,000 people that turn up for that. That's a lot of people. But what does that mean? FNPF has already agreed to build a convention center that can host over 4,000 people. 4 to 4,500 people. When we're able to do that, we can host other events, international events. We can have international boxing matches. Well, these boxers, they go and fight all over the world. We can do it in Fiji. Fiji Airways flies to LA, flies to San Francisco, Narita, Hong Kong, Singapore. We are becoming a hub. We can market ourselves. The Fijian brand is a very strong brand. The PM led the presidency in COP23. We're well known for climatic change issues. We can use that to our advantage. You know, some of these hotels over here, they have what they call the off-peak period. Some of the workers here are casual workers. When it's an off-peak period, the casual workers go home because low room occupancy. What we want to do is, by enabling to bring such events to Fiji, we don't want the off-peak period. We want the casual workers to become full-time employees. We want more employment to be created. We want more jobs to be created. That's the overall purpose of it. And none of it can be done if all of us don't specialize in the areas in which we are trained. And if we're all able to do that, then Fiji will boom. Numerous opportunities. So I wanted to give you, I don't want to bore you with economics, but this is the basis of it. The reason why we're doing this. When we actually have these people coming along, I don't know how many of you realize how much money has just been spent in the Fijian economy. Last night, after over 1 week, I had a little bit of time, so I went with my wife and a family member. I went to one of the restaurants in Matinta, and some of you were there. Because these old people you were looking after, they went to eat. And how much do you think they paid? Every day they've been going out to these restaurants. They go and eat at the restaurants, they pay VAT. They pay ECAL. Stay at the hotel, they pay STT. They buy the handicraft. All that money is coming into the system. Comes into the system, we collect VAT. What do we use the VAT for? We give free education. We build roads, health centers. That's the whole purpose of it. That's how the system works, and many people don't understand the connectivity between them. So we have a wonderful future ahead of us, in particular, if we're all able to specialize and do our jobs properly and work together as a team. And I think this event has been a huge team building event. And I think all of you know how you've all performed, the level of professionalism. I'm in your command center up in Denrau. I mean, many people have been there. They've said, it's fantastic. Never seen the likes of it before. That kind of gives a lot of confidence. These ADB guys are all going all over the place. I went to see the ADB president off yesterday, and I was just walking behind the immigration counter talking to the immigration staff. And then this man who just came through the immigration came to me and just started shaking my hand. Oh, thank you very much. I've been to a lot of ADB meetings, never been to one like this. Thank you very much. He's from Malaysia. What do you think he's going to do? He'll go back to Malaysia and tell what a great place it is. People are going to come here for holidays. They will have next meeting here too. So this is the opportunity. Thank you very much for your professionalism. Thank you very much for your teamwork. I also want to thank Shahana too. She's the lady who got all the sponsors. But just for the interest of transparency, the government spent approximately $9 million out of its own pocket for consolidated fund. We also had donations in cash in kind, about $10 million. The Australian government, for example, gave us $4 million. The New Zealand government over $1 million, and we had other sponsors, Reserve Bank of Fiji, so the private companies. And then, of course, many people gave what we call aid in kind. So, for example, if they provided a particular service would have cost $50,000, they gave it to us on a discount basis. So that, in fact, if you're looking at, say, spending about $19 million, you use what we call a multiplier effect of 1.5. If you pump in $19 million, the amount of money these people spend, you multiply the $1.5 million, you have a capital injection of over $30 million within the economy in the span of 1 week. That's a lot of money. A lot of ordinary people have benefited from it. The ladies I was talking to, the handicraft sellers who were here in the hotel, they said, we've got a lot of people coming and buying our stuff. So that's a couple of hours that increased. So thank you for that. Shahana, the sponsors, the PS, and the rest of the team, the people who ran the command center, the people who provided the technology, of course. Also, thank you for those of you who came down from Suva. And I can only say that if it wasn't for your efforts, we would not have been as successful. You've done your job very professionally. I'd like to, of course, thank the Commissioner of Police, the people over here, the Deputy Commissioner, and all the others. We had, of course, people like Abdul and them went to Manila last year. And this is what we need to continuously do, is to build our capacity. Now, thank you very much.
And the operation of police operation of people. Thank you very much for the generosity of Dono Visa Nawalevu. On the book, I invited itself, there's a cover, I know that there's